Hey, it's been a long time since we've gotten to talk to this lady.
You've been
And
busy.
what I've been busy, you've been busy.
You've been
Uh,
out doing all that continuing education.
well, I went to mega camp and school starting. I think school started for you
Yep.
in a different kind of you got your kids doing their thing. And so we have not seen, I don't even remember the last time we talked, Samantha. When was the last time we
It's been a couple of weeks. It really has. But one thing I love about Keller Williams and your team in particular is you guys are always looking to understand the market better, and you're doing the education and the research to keep you guys at the top of your game.
That's and the reason why people need to watch videos like we're doing here, you need to really know what is going on versus what you might be hearing. God bless CNN, and I mean that in a southern way. CNN,
Are you blessing their hearts?
yeah, Fox Business, all those guys, they don't know what's going on in
Well,
real estate.
especially in our microcosm.
Well, that's what I was about to say, right? What is the rule of real estate? They always say location, location, really the rule is local, local, local. What is
Absolutely.
going on in the market at the moment in our area?
Yep.
I was listening to a guy in Dallas talking about he was driving down some street going, look how many of these houses are for sale that these builders had spec. Well, is that happening here? Nah, not really.
Not
I
on
mean,
that level.
not no, there, I don't, something we were talking pre-show here is I think there's going to be these blips of yes, there's going to for a little while we're going to have builders with some inventory sitting on the,
Mhm.
but that's going to be very short period. We were talking about market timing. What do you think about that?
About how long houses are going to be on the market?
Well, market timing in general. Buyers
I mean,
on the market.
just like you, I hear people tell me, well, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna buy right now. I'm gonna wait till the market crashes and things like that. Um, that's a tough one to explain to people because a lot of people really do think that our property values are going to tank, and I just don't see it happening.
No, I think what we're going to see is, yes, we'll see a little anomalies for a second because the market is in a shift, meaning, there's not one house on the market in a
Right.
subdivision, which was happening for about 18 months. We had
Well, there was one
house.
house and 18 buyers.
Right. Now we have 18 houses in these subdivisions and one buyer, which isn't really true, but let's
I was gonna
play
say it's
that.
not quite that bad, is it? It's more like maybe 5 houses and 4 buyers.
Yeah, and again, depending on the house, we are still putting houses up, Samantha, that have multiple offers on it and have 14 showings. Now, some priced houses are a certain price segment it's a lot tougher and they're staying on the market. And we have newer agents. I had one call me the other day and go, this house has been on the market X amount of time. Why? What's wrong with it? Well, there's nothing wrong with the house. We're going back to a regular market. Again, Samantha, it's kind of rude. I'm not asking your age. I'm just asking how long you've been in your position.
As a mortgage lender,
Yeah,
I've been doing this 22 years.
22 years. I've been doing this for 12. You've seen a whole lot of cray in real estate.
Well, I've watched the real estate cycle, and it is a cycle. You have this, and it's a circle every time. We have this real estate cycle where prices are going up, rates are low, everybody's moving, everybody's doing this, the houses are appreciating, and then we start to see things cool down again. And in our market, we really don't see a depreciation. What we see is a slowing of the appreciation.
Mhm.
Um, we're not like other markets around the country that actually have values that drop. And there's a whole lot of historical reasons for why we don't, and economic reasons for why we don't. Nobody really cares. What
Yeah.
they care is they don't lose value.
Yeah.
And, and we've been very lucky that way. I've seen other markets. Look at California back in the '08. I mean, even then, we didn't depreciate. We just stayed fairly flat.
Yeah, and that's a good example. And we can sit here and name off California, Florida, Nevada, Arizona. Those were the states that you saw. And again, CNN and not picking on them. It's a news story. Go for it. But those states had that crazy crash, right? And got obliterated, and it was horrible, and blah blah blah. That's not what happened in our market in '08. Yes, there were some foreclosures, and I would take buyers out to the foreclosures. Do you know no one ever bought any of those foreclosures? They went and bought a pre-owned or a new home. No one ever bought a foreclosure, you know. And so it was kind of funny. So, and I would guess I would ask the question to anybody that says, well, the market's going to crash. Okay. Crash to where? What percentage? When? How? How do you know it's going to crash? Because you want it to crash? You wished it would crash? Or is it really?
I mean, there's a certain level of, I do think that people have expected it to crash because they think what goes up must come down. But honestly, our values were just kind of catching up with the rest of the country. We've not had those double-digit appreciation in years.
No. Yeah, we're a slow and steady kind of growth area on the appreciation front.
Which I like.
And another thing I would say is you have to go live somewhere, right? Especially in our market, we have a lot of people moving in. So your choices are what? Either you buy a house or you rent a house. Do you ever get the rent money back?
No, and rent is 100% interest, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
You're paying somebody else's mortgage. You just don't want to do that.
Which, I know a lot of my investor clients would love for you to keep waiting for the crash.
Yes.
whatever that looks like to you in your mind. So I think really, and to be serious, because my wife got after me because she's like, you're talking down to people. And you know what? She's right. Well, I was in that video, I was kind of making voices and stuff. And she's like, you really shouldn't talk that way. What we need to do is really drill down on what are your needs? What are your, what is your financial goals? And kind of drill down on that. I think what you'll find out, instead of waiting for a crash, you need to look for the property that is the right fit for your needs of this moment. Gary says we're dealing with a market of the moment.
And here's the other half of that too is, yes, you find the right house, the one that fits your needs, but there are things we can do on the financing side where we can work with maybe, helping you pay off something or buy the rate down, or, there are ways we can work to make that payment, put it in the affordable range. So you're still getting the house that you want and the house that fits your needs, but we're keeping the payment where it's comfortable for a buyer.
Yeah, and I'm not a guy I was talking to this morning. He was talking about, I bet you my brother's paying 50% of his income for that house. And I don't want to do that.
Ooh.
I don't want you to do that either. I want you to live in a comfortable, good house that you can afford to pay. And what I'm also going to tell you is, as a homeowner versus a renter, we can look at their net worth versus someone that has a house. Big difference in, just in a few years, their net worth is just totally different.
Yes.
So every day you're paying, the man, a rental, you got a problem.
Well, you're never building equity, and you're never building an ownership in anything. It's there's no, that you're not, you're not building wealth. I don't even know how to say it other than that. I'd love to say it in a better way, but I mean, when you start looking at it as, and maybe people don't, I know there are people out there that don't understand all of this. If you buy a house for $100,000 and you pay on it for 5 years and you pay $10,000 off that house, that's a really round, wild number. That's not an accurate number, but if you pay $10,000 over that time frame, over that 5 years, you're anticipating that the value is going to go up something per year. Let's just say it goes up 3% a year. That's another $3,000 a year. So you've got the $10,000 in equity you've paid down, but you've also built another $15,000 in equity on top of that. So you've got $25,000 in equity on that home. If it were a rental, you've got nothing.
Mhm.
And
But I'm busy timing the market.
do what?
I said I'm busy timing the market.
Well, that's right. And you miss out on 100% of the chances you don't take.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
This was an incredible opportunity this last 2 years for people who bought before this pandemic, even if their interest rate was 5% or 6%, which it was before the pandemic. They made bank, and a lot of them have since sold their homes, used that equity to put down on their next house or to pay off debt. And they've increased their net worth significantly because they weren't busy trying to time the market. They just got in and did it.
Yeah, I want to be careful here because what happened the last 2 years is just a different thing.
Well, it's a fluke.
It was a lifetime event or whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, how many pandemics have you lived through?
None.
Yeah.
That was my first pandemic, and at my old ripe age, probably my last. However, my kids, when they're my age, will be telling their grandkids about how they were waiting in line with a mask to be let into a grocery store.
Yes.
Think about that. And so they're going to go, really? And all you were fighting for 3 cans of soup? That crazy. Okay. So while you're waiting for that crazy event of 08 or whatever, 2020 and 2021 to happen again, you've lost what opportunity. And I want to be careful here. It's kind of interesting. I am selling people's houses that bought before the pandemic, and they're making bank right now because the equity you just said, the 25,000 that they would have in their pocket, that's tax-free when you sell that house, potentially. It doesn't need a word.
Visit with your CPA, please, before you
Yeah, I'm not giving you financial advice because I don't know you personally in your situation, but there's a lot of people right now that are walking away with a lot of money in their pocket.
There are. And you know what? They've earned that money.
Yeah.
They purchased that home, they made their payments, hopefully. But it's been a really interesting social experiment, I guess, if you want to call it that. But back to our original point, we're seeing a contraction in the market. What we're not seeing is a decrease.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not seeing a significant increase still.
Yeah, I'm on a call right now with, and again, something you were saying earlier, why should you be interested in my team? We don't just get up and do, I don't know, I want to be careful here because I'm talking about my profession. Some people don't put in what they need to put into this. And part of putting in this is being on the phone in front of other people that think at a high level.
Yeah.
And that's, so I was on, 7:30 this morning, listening to someone talking about the market of the moment. His point was this, is in 18, we were at 2.9, and he had a market area. They were at 2.9 on their absorption rate. In other words, in 3 months, they would be out of homes. Right now, we're at 2.1 in that market. In other words, we're just back to what the seller's market that was going on in 2018 is now in 2020. So you're sitting here trying to time the market. It's still a seller's market. You know,
It's still very much a seller's market. I mean, we're not seeing as many multiple offers. We're still not seeing sellers pay all of the buyer's closing costs right now. We're starting to see them contribute some toward buyer's closing costs.
mhm.
But it's becoming a bit more of a leveler playing field. I don't want to say an even playing field, but a little more of a level playing field. Now, that also depends on your price range. We have more buyers in the under $200,000 price range than we have in the $500,000 price range. So $500,000 price range is looking more a bit like a buyer's market, but that under $2,000 price range is still very much a seller's market.
Oh, right, right. And we gotta remember that the sweet spot of the bat is in that range that you're just talking about. You were at one of our career events yesterday, and we had that discussion. If somebody shows up on my door wanting to sell $1 million house, they think, oh, Bill, you should be so privileged to sell my $1 million house. And, you know, and I'm just going to be very blunt here. In the back of my mind, I'm sitting there going, we're going to be in a relationship for a year.
Well, yeah, because you could sell five $200,000 houses like that, but that $1 million house is going to take a while because
Right.
there are so many fewer buyers for that, especially in our market.
Mhm.
Let's just be
Right.
real.
Yeah. And so if you're in that higher price range, you really need to be very conscious of your agent. So what do you think right now, and what's your advice to buyers right now on the finance end?
Work with a lender who understands financing and understands how to build that strategy with the mortgage to help you meet your goals. Financing is not an order taking situation, and it never should be. When I sit down with clients, I typically provide them 2 to 3 options for their mortgage. And people call me all the time. Well, what's your lowest rate? Well, how much do you want to spend? Because we can get you as low as you want to go, but it may cost you more than it's worth it. So work with a lender who understands time value of money, who understands how to make sure that you're not spending more than you'll ever recoup. Because you can do that. And you just, you know, questions we ask people or questions that my team and I ask people when we sit down and talk to them is, how long do you think you're going to be in this house? How long do you intend to own this house? Because that can be 2 very different things. You know, what kind of money are we working with? And do you have reserves set aside so that if something happens, you've still got money to pay your bills? You know, those are all very important questions that we want to work with people on. We don't necessarily ask them, how much do you want to spend? We know, we typically know what price range they're looking at, but we also ask, what's your comfort range for a payment? And we can work backwards from there. So I would tell people, do not just call an 800 number. Work with someone local who understands the market. I was talking to somebody last night. Another lender from out of state told her that they didn't have to have the title insurance policy.
Really?
And I said, well, hold on just a minute, because there's a whole lot we need to unpack there. First of all, to get a mortgage, you're going to need that title insurance policy.
I was about to say, what bank is going to write a loan?
Well,
in
and
Texas?
second of all, why would you want to buy a house without that title insurance policy?
Yeah, well, I think like a lot of insurance, and we're about to chase a rabbit here. I'm hoping that you know, I get to, and by the way, I have actually had title insurance payoff on one of my properties. Realizing how many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses I've sold, I've only had that happen once, and it was me. It was kind of funny. But anyways, so that came in handy then. They that are writing the policies are thinking about what? How not to. It's like any other insurance. I'm glad I bought that policy when, when the poo hit the fan. But yeah, I guarantee you're not going to get a loan in Texas. I don't know what state she's from. There's other states that won't go mentioned here that have crazy laws. Here in Texas, you definitely want it. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to make sure they don't pay off on that. And the way they do that is they make sure that that title's good for you.
And they do. But the whole thing about that was, the client is telling me, well, that would save us $1,500. I'm sure it would. But at the end of the day, the other lender is going to end up charging it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not charging it. The title company is charging it. But at the end of the day, it's going to be part of your closing costs. Why do you want to work with a lender who isn't familiar with all of this and isn't setting you up for success at the beginning?
Yeah. Again, folks, I want to be careful here because I'm a real estate agent, and Samantha does what she does. You want professionals like us involved in the transaction.
Mhm.
We're worth every penny you pay us. Yeah. So, well, man, we talked about a lot. Did we solve the world's problems today, Samantha?
Almost.
Now,
I think, a few more of these we probably could.
Yeah. The one problem we haven't solved for people, how to get a hold of us.
Oh, my goodness. Bill, how do they get a hold of you and your team if they want to talk about real estate?
Well, there you go. We got 4 other agents on the team, and you can get with me and I'll direct you to them, 254-495-5661, or you can reach out to me at bill@i35group.com. Guess what our website probably says? www.i35group.com. And we'd love to talk to you. Samantha, how can people get a hold of you?
You know what? They can call or text me at 254-624-4307, or they can email me and my team at teamsam, TEAMSAM @rate.com.
There you go. Now, folks, if you want to hear some more high-level ramblings, you need to subscribe to this channel. Please like us. If you have comments, please leave those. When you subscribe, don't forget to hit that little belly thing. And then when Samantha and I are talking, you'll get notifications. So we really appreciate you listening to us. And we are here to help you out with the most important financial transaction of your life. Samantha, would you like to lead us out?
I think that's awesome. And we look forward to hearing from you. And Bill, I'm going to take a picture to show everybody what we've been doing today. So smile. There we go.
Thank you, Samantha. That broke your camera lenses. Luckily you have 3. Okay, well, we'll talk to you later, man.
Awesome. Bye.